it's good to have you on Mr. Wahab.
Yes. Good morning.
Now, important to say.
I'm fine, thank you. I can't speak to you.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We'll manage with the English
So
language. I'm hoping you're doing well.
I'm doing great.
So, why has it gotten to the point where suppliers of food to your outfit have had to protest by sleeping at your end?
Good morning to your cherished listeners. It is a very unfortunate situation, first of its kind, having worked with the suppliers for the past 6 years, from September 2017. Yes, there have been some delay that has led into the decision by the suppliers to picket at the office of the National Food Buffer Stock Company. But as we speak now, I just want to re-echo what the Honorable Minister for Food and Agriculture has done since last week, his engagement with the suppliers and the assurance he has given them and the timelines. And out of that, they respected the minister's plea and then decided to call off the picketing because the minister has promised them that by 17th of this month, they will get their funds released to them. And so far, so well, various stakeholders have met. I'm talking about the various ministers, Agric, Finance, and Education. And on the side of management of buffer stock, we have already started preparing their payment vouchers because we know whatever it is, by the 17th, we'll be able to pay them so that they can go back and continue with their supplies again. So it is very unfortunate situation. I sympathize with them because I have been with them. I have a relationship with them. And it is unfortunate that it has gotten to this point.
All right.
And I share in their pain too.
You made mention of delays. What has caused these delays?
It's the normal delays in the system when it comes to payment. Just as we have delays in the payment of road contractors and other sectors of the government, you understand. So it's like I said, this is first of its kind, and ours has to do with validation. It has to do with validation of the of the invoices submitted by the suppliers. So thankfully, this has been completed, vetted, completed, and approved. So all that we are waiting for now, what is important now is the money of the suppliers, which by the 17th they will get in. Anyway, in fact, we are not even paying the suppliers because they have come to picket at buffer stock already, even before they took that decision. Of course, we've had a series of meetings with them, and that has led to the speeding up of the validation of their invoices. So already we are going to plans were far advanced to pay them. It is not because we are paying them because they have come to picket at the premises of the buffer stock company. No, because we see each other as partners in this venture, and we need them, and they also need us.
You are supposed to be a priority outfit because your core mandate is not only towards the feeding of students in school, but it's also the preservation of food for the entire nation. And so I find it very interesting that the point is made that it is the usual and that a reference is made to road contractors who have not also received their money. Per your systems, you made mention of validation. How long is validation supposed to take?
Okay, so it will be revealing for you to, know that even as at yesterday, 10th of July, we are still receiving invoices from suppliers that was done in 2022. And this, you can come to my office and verify. So we are looking at the situation where invoices are being delayed on the part of maybe headmasters, storekeepers, and bearers getting their signatures on the store receipt voucher, because that's the only way it can be validated now per our system. But then this thing has also come to, giving us a clue on some reforms that we are going to do in such a way that we are able to have this electronic invoice validation where it can be done within the shortest possible time. So, for example, like I said, somebody brought his invoice yesterday. You can come and check. So the person comes to grant interview with you and says that, oh, I've supplied 2022. Meanwhile, it was just yesterday Buffer has received his invoice. You owe me 2022.
Now,
and the clock, sorry, I'm coming. The clock starts ticking after we have received the invoices from the suppliers, because that's the only evidence to show that you have actually gone to supply. That is, we cannot validate something that we don't even have in our hands. But these are just few of them. But I'm talking about bulk of them who have supplied. We are not denying the fact that yes, we don't owe suppliers 2022. Yes, we owe suppliers 2022, but it is not the entire 2022 academic year. It's the latter part of 2022. So, and like I indicated, the Minister for Food and Agriculture has taken it up, and then based on the assurance given to him by Ministry of Finance, that look, this is engage them and then tell them that look, already we are processing to get them paid anyway. So by 17th, we should be able to finish with the process.
My question I asked that has still not been answered. I asked how long the validation process takes for each individual who submits this invoice.
So from we have various stages of the validation. When we receive it from buffer stock, that's the first point of call. We will do our own internal auditing of the invoices and then forward it to Ministry of Education in batches. Because, for example, when schools resumes, let's say January, so by end of January, whatever invoices we have aggregated or received from suppliers, we do the validation through our internal auditor and then forward it as a batch to Ministry of Education. They also subject it to their own verification because they are paying. So the processes that is going on at Ministry of Education, I have no idea. But for my office, because I have control of what happens in my office, once we receive, we just do our checks. We make sure that we also call the schools to verify that supplier has brought an invoice number this, stating that he has supplied this item and this quantity. Can you verify? In some cases, our original managers even goes to the school to compare with the file copy, just to make sure that.
And how long would that take?
It depends on the number of invoices we have received. So it ranges between a month, 2 or 3.
All right. So fair enough. So it takes a month, 2 or 3 for these processes to be validated within your systems and then that with the education service. So 2 years per the account of these suppliers. Let's say hypothetically that people submitted their invoices, let's say 2 years ago, and there were just about 50 of them, and that the rest of them are the ones that you just really cited that, okay, they brought their invoices just last week or just yesterday, and so it doesn't kick into your systems.
Let me put it on record. We don't have an invoice that is 2 years with us.
Okay.
There is no invoice that is 2 years with us. As we speak now, there's no invoice that is 2 years with us. That is a fact. And sometimes, for the sake of Ghanaians who have interest in what is happening, you can actually come to the office. Organize your people and come to the office and check from our books and see whether the claim made by some of the suppliers that we owe them for 2 years, whether it is valid. No, we don't owe suppliers for 2 years. That is not the case. We would have shut down schools by now. We don't owe suppliers for 2 years.
Final question.
That information out there is incorrect. It is highly incorrect.
Final question I would ask would be one which has to do with the entire nation, because your key mandates are supposed to ensure that you purchase, you sell, you preserve and distribute food. And this is all sometimes, I believe, for emergency situations. So if just feeding secondary schools, we are having a problem of delays in payment and arrears and all of that. How sure are we that in times of need, the buffer stock can come to an aid as a nation?
I think you are talking about two different things here. What we have as national food reserves is independent of what is happening now. What is happening now?
So we have reserves.
I'm coming.
Okay.
What is happening now is delay in payment of suppliers who have supplied to the schools. Don't forget that we have two forms of. We have suppliers and then we have buyers. We have license buying companies that buy on behalf of buffer stock into our various warehouses for strategic reserve. And we have suppliers who are supplying to institutions on our behalf. So these are two different things.
All right. So
and we don't have issues with food security. I can assure you of that. We don't have issues with food security. The issue at hand now is the delay of payment of supplier, and this is just one of. This is the first time we are experiencing this. So we have never experienced this.
Give me some clarity. So the one for the reserve for the nation, people who supplied you those goods or produce, as I may describe them, have been paid for us to have that stock there. But those who are supplying for the short term, medium term for our second cycle institutions are not being paid. Is that it?
No. Okay, so let me clarify this. We have planting for food and jobs, and government has invested in subsidizing seed and fertilizer, and government recovers what they have invested in the planting for food and jobs. So we are talking about recoveries into our warehouses of what we have invested or supported farmers. So we have just licensed buyers who go around to aggregate on behalf of us into our warehouses. So that is the difference.
All right. So in summing up our conversation, in the end, is there a likelihood that if this matter is not resolved by the 17th that you mentioned, it may have repercussions for us?
Of course, I will not run away from that fact. But the reality is that I can assure you and Ghanaians in general that the matter is going to resolve before or on the 17th of this month. Because, like I said, currently we are preparing the payment vouchers to get the suppliers paid. So it is not something that's in doubt. And the Honorable Minister of Food and Agriculture is very credible when it comes to his communication. And he will not just communicate. He has given us the necessary, the go-ahead to start processing once finance will release the funds for us to pay the suppliers. So, and the suppliers are convinced because of the credibility of the minister. And that is why they have decided to discontinue their picketing because they believe in the minister's word.
Chief, forgive me, but I need to ask this final question before I let you off the line. And that has to do with planning.
This is your third final question.
Yes, this is my third final question because the final questions are becoming final. Now, what I want to establish is I am hoping that as an institution, you would have a fair idea how much or what quantity of produce that you're going to require, let's say.
Sorry, please come again.
Yes, I wanted to find out that do you submit a budget to your mother agency as to how much you would require to ensure that you remain liquid?
As in purchasing
food from your suppliers.
Are you talking about the supply to the free SHS?
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have control over that budget. We take every information from Ministry of Education. We are service providers to the Ministry of Education. So before the commencement of every academic year, they will provide us with quantities of what they want us to supply to the schools. So quantities are generated from Ministry of Education, and quantities are also based on enrollment. So there are always plus or minuses. So quantities are always generated from the Ministry of Education. So we don't have we don't have that particular data to determine, because until the Ministry of Education calls and says, look, this is the quantity of food items we are giving you, or the business we are giving you, because we are service provider, we don't have control in that regard. They are running their schools. They have their schools. We are only supplying food to them, so they will tell us their demand, and we will go and supply.
All right, that's fine, Mr. Wahab. I don't want to be tempted to have another last question, so I'll drop it here. But I'm grateful.
All right, I'm always there.
Yes,
right,
we'll try and pass by and have a conversation, comprehensive one.
Thank you.
All right, so that's a CEO for the Ghana Buffer Stock Company, sharing some insights with us.